I had just assumed that the famous ballad, which began with "An Ulster man I'm proud to be, from the Antrim glens I come," dated back to about 1800. Delving further, however, I discovered that it was composed many years later, or to be more precise, 111 years later. Before exploring its history, it would be worth saying something about the subject of the ballad, Henry Joy McCracken. The son of Captain John McCracken, a shipowner, and Anne Joy, Henry, or Harry Joy McCracken, was born on the 31st of August, 1767, in High Street, Belfast. Like many other disaffected Northern Presbyterians, he joined the ranks of the United Irishman and proclaimed the 6th of June 1798 to be the first year of liberty. On the 7th of June, he led a ragtag army of 4,000 to 6,000 men who tried in vain to seize the town of Antrim. Routed and defeated by an overwhelming force of local militias and British redcoats who wielded superior artillery power, he went on the run, but was soon captured and brought back to Belfast under military escort. Court-martialed and sentenced to death, he was hanged on the 17th of July, 1798, in High Street, his sister Mary Ann witnessing the entire gory spectacle. Henry Joy's body was laid to rest nearby in the grounds of St. George's Church. In 1909, people gathered at Clifton Street Graveyard in Belfast to witness the reinterment of McCracken's remains. Just before burial, a parchment containing the following information was placed inside the sturdy oak coffin. These bones were dug up in the old graveyard in High Street in 1902, and from several circumstances are believed to be those of Henry Joy McCracken. They were reverently treated and placed here by Robert May of Belfast, 12th of May 1909, when the monument was placed to the memory of his beloved sister Mary Ann. In Donegal Street, just a short walk away from Clifton Street Graveyard, stood the offices of the Irish News, which published every Saturday the Irish Weekly and Ulster Examiner, the paper carrying on its front page the tagline, "The leading nationalist weekly journal." The Irish Weekly was edited by Tim McCarthy, a native of Cloughrow, Inishcara in County Cork. On the 28th of October 1911, McCarthy invited his readers to submit original short stories or poems, stipulating that entries should arrive no later than the 2nd of December of that year. 3 poems of merit, he said, once judged by a panel of 3, would be included in the weekly's Christmas almanac on the 16th of December, and the lucky winners would receive gratis copies of the paper for 1 year. Having received an unending stream of poems from all quarters, the results of the competition were published on the designated day, the poems published alongside the writers' names. One of the submitted poems was Henry Joy McCracken by T.P. Cummins, Virginia, Cavan. Cummins appended the following brief note to his 5 verses. This poem tells of the grief of a rebel fisherman of 98 for his dead leader, Henry Joy McCracken. Further investigation reveals that, back in December 1910, T.P. Cummins had won the weekly's poetry competition with his poem, The Coming of Owen Roe. He was also a writer of short stories. His Broken Arch story was also published in December 1910, this time in the Anglo-Celt. Little else is known of Cummins, and we do not know the name of the person or persons who set Henry Joy to music. But the verses tell the story of an ordinary man who, like many others, took to arms against the elitist and corrupt proxy government in Dublin. The fisherman tells a young lad, possibly his son, of how he followed McCracken and fought alongside him at Antrim town. We won, but lost. Ah, why, he says, but no matter, lad, I fought my way. The Cummins poem found its way to America, the lyrics being published on the 13th of June, 1953, in the New York newspaper, The Advocate. Many years later, on the 29th of August 1970, The Advocate published the same poem, as submitted by Anne Marie Loftus of Winthrop, Massachusetts. Ms. Loftus stating, with unabashed conviction, that this Belfast street ballad was written about Henry Joy in 1800. Interestingly, authorship of Cummins' Henry Joy would later be attributed to Dominic Behan, even to Henry Joy himself. As for the melody, which was at some stage added to Cummins's words, it's quite similar to that which was used in the ballad My Singing Bird, the words of which were written by Edith Wheeler, the melody being collected by Charlotte Milligan Fox from John Simpson, a fiddler and weaver from Moneyrea in County Down. According to Milligan Fox, Simpson called this melody The Banks of Claudy. My Singing Bird was included in 4 Irish songs, published in late 1906. If we have a listen to the first 2 lines of My Singing Bird, and then to Henry Joy, we can hear the similarity, bearing in mind that someone decided to alter a few of the notes when they wedded the Singing Bird melody to Henry Joy. In early 2023, while researching the story behind the Henry Joy ballad, I thought I would divulge my findings to Stephen McCracken, a direct descendant of Henry Joy and an authority on the United Irishman. Not surprisingly, Stephen had never heard of Cummins, but was delighted to learn that a date, location and name could finally be attributed to the famous ballad. We have been blessed throughout the years to have so many ballads about one of our family members. These have gone a long way in interpreting and understanding our checkered past. The Cummins ballad is full of pride and reverence and shows how much respect people had for Henry, which resonated over 100 years later into the early 1900s, thanks to Mr. T.P. Cummins. Henry Joy has been recorded to disc by numerous bands and singers. It featured on a 1965 album by the McPeak family of Belfast. Subsequent recordings were made by Dubliners member Ciarán Burke and by Tommy Macomb, a former member of the Clancy Brothers. The ballad was also included on Frank Hart and Donal Lunny's 1998 album, 1798, The First Year of Liberty. we'll end our story with the Ballad of Henry Joy, as written by T.P. Cummins and published in December 1911 in the Irish Weekly and Ulster Examiner. An Ulsterman I'm proud to be, from the Antrim glens I come. And though I labour by the sea, I've followed flag and drum. I've heard the martial tread of men, I've seen them fight and die. Aye, lad, I well remember when we followed Henry Joy. I hung my nets upon the tree, I hid my sails away. I dragged my boat out from the sea and scanned the moonlit brae. The boys were out, the redcoats too. I kissed my wife goodbye, and through the glade in the greenwood shade I marched with Henry Joy. Aye, lad, for Ireland was we fought, for sire and home we bled. Though swords were few, our arms were true, and 5-1 lay dead. Ah, many's a lassie missed her love, and mother mourned her boy. For youth was strong in the dashing throng that followed Henry Joy. Our tyrant stood at Antrim town, they tore our ranks with ball. But with a cheer and pikes to clear, we swept them o'er the wall. How pike and sabre flashed that day, we won but lost a why. No matter, lad, I fought my way and shielded Henry Joy. In Belfast town they built a tree, and redcoats mustered there. And I saw him come as the beat of a drum rolled from the barrack square. He kissed his sister, climbed aloft, he waved a last goodbye. Ah, God, he died. I turned and cried, they murdered Henry Joy.